Hello, welcome to another episode of The Scene Seed. I'm sitting here with my co-host Ando.
What's up?
And our wonderful guest Brett from Ordio and Pranafest.
Hey
Welcome,
guys.
welcome.
Hello.
How are you, man?
Yeah, really good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
So just to get things started, we'll just do a little bit of a get to know you, and I guess we'll just start with kind of what got you into the scene initially, whenabouts was that? Just a bit of a tale from the beginning from you.
Yeah, no worries. So the music industry, wow. On the Sunshine Coast, I guess it was around the year 2000 that I started on the scene.
My birth year.
Oh, well, there you go. That was my birth year too.
Wow,
Day one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little baby straight on stage. I started a band called Kismet, in a band called Kismet, I should say, and we were a rock band. That was, I started with my brother, and then we basically brought in a few mates, and we were looking to do a CD launch somewhere, and thought, oh man, Alex skate park would be pretty cool, and somehow found ourselves calling the council, met some people in the council, this lovely lady named Tess Parker, and all of a sudden we were doing our CD launch at the Alex skate park, and then it just sort of stemmed from there, and then I found myself running that event as well as playing at it, so that's sort of where it all seeded.
Kismet did a lot of stuff. For people in the audience who may not know, I was in a band in high school called Pool Shark, and we actually supported Kismet back in the day a few times. So they were doing some things, and we won some Battle of the Bands and got the opportunity. So can you give us a bit more like of a rundown of like what Kismet was doing in terms of, because you guys were doing like sort of mini East Coast tours and things, like how far did you travel and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it was really powering Kismet. Like so we were running our own events. That's sort of how it all really started. I ended up getting a job as a contractor running youth events on the Sunshine Coast from doing that CD launch. So all of a sudden that spawned into a festival, which we called Aussie Fest. So we did Aussie Fest over 2 years, and that was right then, especially the rock scene was really thriving. Like it was basically that, I think that first Aussie Fest, we did at Aussie World.
Yes.
So the council gave us a bunch of money and didn't ask for any of it back, and just said, look, just run a festival. And we're like, epic. So we booked about something like 52 or 53 bands, DJs, and just everything we could. We had 3 stages, and had a band. Sunk Lotto was the headliner of that year, I think, and Body Jar, and then started that, and then basically from then on we just started touring and just getting out there as much as possible.
So what was the purpose of the council kind of throwing all that money at you and just telling you to run the event? Was it for youth specifically, or? Yeah.
Basically, it was all about the youth back then, and it was really stemmed from Tess Parker, really, because she was the youth development officer in the council at that time, and she had a real passion for youth development, really, and so she had access to a lot of the funds, and then all of a sudden we were sort of getting given a fair bit of money to run these events, and then through that process, Lifeline came on board, and with their youth development program, they came on board to basically have, I guess, would you call it marginalised marginalised youth, people that are sort of kids that were sort of not doing so well at home or maybe on the street or whatever, to give them a purpose of running these events. So then they were sort of put into these events, and I found myself then becoming like a mentor for those kids, even though I was only 20, 21, 22.
Was that called YAS? Was that the Youth Activations or Activity Service or so? Because I remember events and functions, they used to do something at the basketball courts opposite Caloundra High School there, I think, occasionally.
Yeah.
And Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Long
was.
time ago, but I remember all that stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, that was it. Like, there was so much going on. There was a lot going on down in Caloundra. There was heaps going on up in Maroochydore. Probably Noosa was the one that wasn't really activated as much, but yeah, Caloundra and Maroochydore were really thriving back then. So,
Yeah, nice, yeah.
and then I ended up sort of steering into that role of youth development officer, but for Lifeline. So I got a sort of permanent part-time role a few more years down the track, and just continued to run those events, and was able to basically put a team together of young people to actually run the event for themselves. Yeah.
So good, yeah. Is there anything like that happening around the coast still at the moment, do you know, or it's all sort of gone by the wayside?
Yeah, it's gone a little bit by the way. So there is a group of people that are running an event called Nurture, which my business partner for Pranafest is a big part of, and he's got another company called Mask, which are like a corporate events company, but they work with another organisation called Ended, which is about the eating disorders. Okay. And so they're running a youth event called Nurture, which is sort of like the only thing that I know available now. And then Deb from Circle of Sound, she's been just powering doing her open mics.
Yeah, yeah. She's been holding that fort down for years now, hasn't she? Like,
Oh,
it's
man.
yeah, she's a machine.
Does she hold them?
All around the place, like Club Mooloolaba, which is the Mooloolaba Bowlsy, and a few other different places around the Sunshine Coast. But she's had some incredible musicians come through. I think we were trying to work out how long she's been doing it for the other day, but
Be at least 20 years.
no, I thought it was, but it's actually only been about 15.
Because she was running,
Yeah,
she
the
was
open
doing
mics.
bookings and doing open mics for every, like open ones for a couple of years prior to that. We were doing, was it Grinning Dog?
Yep.
Back in the day, and there was a couple of other little ones that she used to run around the place too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's definitely, man, the scene needs that. It's like fundamentally, I think, especially for original bands, the open mics, like the ones at Soul Bar, that's how you got a gig at Soul Bar, and Soul Bar was, from my experience of working in a lot of bands over the years, Soul Bar was like the pinnacle of that. That's what you aspired to do as a local Sunny Coast artist. Was once you got a gig at Soul Bar, you were ready to move on. Like you'd achieved the big thing, and you could start getting shots at festivals and stuff. So it's a big hit to lose Soul Bar, obviously, and just testament to those open mics, like how much of a foundational thing they are to support the local scene, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tough now. I mean, now that the Soul Bar's gone, like, we were trying to think of that the other day, like, there's no real venues that are really sort of hosting, for a broad range of artists and bands, like metal. I don't even know where metal's playing anymore, these days. So
yeah, talking about metal, I think the only other venue I know of on the coast is Norton's. I think they do a lot of that punk and hardcore and metal and that sort of thing.
yeah.
But it's the same thing, like it's in the industrial estate of Caloundra, and we were just talking about this with Reese the other week when he came on for a chat. It's like, that's great for Norton's. Like, if you go to Norton's, you're sort of stuck at Norton's because the public transport is just not there. We don't have that infrastructure yet. So yeah, I think, obviously, like you say, there's the council regulations is the hard thing for the venue side of it, and then for the actual punters, people who want to go and see the music, how do they get there? How do they get from one venue to the next, or even to a venue and home? It's really tricky.
Oh man, absolutely. And with the gap in Maroochydore now, it's pretty crazy. Like with the station going down as well, and the Soul Bar. So we had a pretty big show. Well, we've still got it coming up, but it was Ordio's playing with Tijuana Cartel and Opio, and that was at the station. So they were sort of we were hoping for about 1,500 for that show. And once that went down, to try and get another venue that could host that on the Sunshine Coast was actually really hard. And the guys that were booking the venue, Yours and Ours, so they run a festival, Yours and Ours Festival, but they also do the bookings for that place. And they ended up calling me asking where would be a great spot. And Ordio had done an event at the Black Flag Brewery, and so we sort of helped steer that into there. So now the Black Flag have taken on a lot of those bigger shows. So because they can hold 1,000 in that car park.
Yep. Yeah.
But again, it's due to it's still weather dependent, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's crazy.
So sorry, I think I got us so off track before.
No, that's it's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah, we digress. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were kind of talking about all of the work you've done with the youth work, and then how that stemmed onto Raw Audio and your touring. And did you want to kind of run down that track a little bit? As well?
I skipped a few years there, didn't I?
There's a couple of other band projects and things that I know about in between there, and you would
talk all day about that.
Yeah. So I basically I started doing youth development for Lifeline, which then went on to Uniting Care. They sort of changed tact, and we were still doing the events. So we were running these homegrown festivals at Alex Skate Park, sort of once every sort of quarterly, through the year. And then then Yas came in, and then so then they sort of took on that role, and I was more supporting them running the youth events and sort of, and then but more mentoring some of the kids that were coming through. And around that time, that's when the Music Association Sunshine Coast started up, which was called Mask. And we started basically, so that was Dimmy and Alex from the Soul Bar, Deb, and a few others, myself. And we started doing more sort of open air festivals and events, just sort of free in the park, and we're getting council funding from that. And that's when there was a bit of a shift happening with venues. The licensing laws were coming down pretty hard and shutting down a lot of local music venues as well. So the Mask organisation was a big advocate for all that sort of stuff.
So about was this starting like
2008?
2008, yeah.
GFC time, wasn't it really? Like it was,
Yeah.
I think 2009, the band I was in the MAP project with Massey Smith. We performed on the Mask stage on the beach at Kings Beach at Caloundra Music Festival. That was such a cool setup. Like, yeah.
That was awesome, eh? That was a great setup. That was the first beach stage there.
Yeah.
I feel so envious just hearing the stories that you go on about sometimes. Like we just don't experience kind of much like that.
It's such a shame, eh? Like when you think about like what happened then compared to what's happening now, it is really tough. And it's great you guys are doing this because it shows the gaps of like what was happening and what's, I guess, and how the music industry has changed on the Sunshine Coast as well, and the event scene's changed as well. So but yeah, so personally, I was doing that, and then I started another band called Kindred with my wife, and then we were sort of doing like a funk rock reggae thing, and then out of Mask, the guys started the Soul Bar. So so then they sort of spawned that idea, and then I sort of started stepping away. So my job got made redundant in Uniting Care at that time, which was really good timing because I was just getting this itch to travel and sort of take it on the road, and so my wife and I started another act called Double A at that time, which was like an electronica act, and we just decided to save up a bunch of money and go to Europe, and we were sort of inspired by another guy named Dub Effects who was doing that, and he did a lot of busking on the street, and a lot of people, like a lot of Aussies, were making lots of money busking on the street over in Europe. So yeah, we sort of packed up ship and just shipped over to Europe around, we got married in 2009, and then we went over there for a honeymoon and went, oh, you know what, we got booked for some random gig in Switzerland and Amsterdam.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and just like these two street gigs, and then we decided, oh, you know what, I reckon we could do this. So in 2000, we recorded the album of Double A, and then in 2012, we just decided to go over there, and we bought a van and bought a sound system and made sure that we were like literally self-sufficient. We could just call a venue and say, hey, we could bring a party. You don't have to accommodate us. You don't have to do anything. We'll just pass the hat around. If you could feed us, that'd be great. And then usually in Belgium, they're just pumping you full of beers anyway, so it's,
Nice.
Yeah.
What an experience, man. It must have been awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. So we did that for like probably 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
So that was around when my job was getting made redundant. So I took unpaid leave and went and did that. And And then at the end of that 6-month stint, at first we were doing a lot of busking stuff in the street, and then some agent found us over there, and all of a sudden we were playing like 7 shows a week in Austria and Switzerland and touring around everywhere, and it was just, yeah, it was crazy. And then, so Kate's brother Kate's brother, my wife's brother, was living in Switzerland, and he was working as a renderer there in this place called Gstaad, which is it's like one of the richest places in the world. And so we were making that our home base, and there was a couple of hotels there, and we thought, oh, we'll just take a CD up and see what happens. And we took this CD up to, or the 3 of them, and one of the hotels gave us a call and said, hey, we really like what you guys do. Would you be keen to come and play? And we're like, oh, for sure. And we didn't realise they were asking for a whole season. So they booked us for a whole season that next winter.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So I came back to Australia and went, all right, well, jobs getting made redundant, finished all that up, and then we just went back to Europe and started this touring life for about 4 years after that. So we would go live in Switzerland, stay at the hotel for a couple of months, play every day there, and then fly the band over and then tour, and then bounce to Bali and stay there for a month, and then play some shows, and then come back here, play some shows, and then that was our life for 4 years. It was from then on.
That's pretty epic.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you guys came back from doing that, and then how did like Raw Audio and Pranafest then lead in from that?
Yeah, so with Double Ray, we started this because we were going to Bali a lot. We were doing lots of yoga and sort of getting right into like wellness, and but we were like, man, every yoga class we go to, the music's crap. Mm-hmm. It is just, they're playing this pop stuff, and it's just not cool at all. Then it wasn't anyway. Yeah. People have got a bit better now. So we decided to write an album for yoga. Yeah. So like a Soundscapes, the 7 Chakra, which we called the Sound of Prana. Mm-hmm. And we worked with a bunch of yoga teachers and sound healers, and really sort of dialed in, like, you know, the elements of like the keys of your chakras and the elements around those as well. And then, yeah, pumped out the CD. And around that time, we got booked for Wanderlust, which was a yoga festival happening here in Australia and New Zealand. And then we played on that. I became mates with the guy that was running it. All of a sudden I got a job from my past experience of events, and ended up working in that for like 3 years. And then when that went down, it was like, oh, cool, there's a gap for a wellness event here. So that was around the time of when COVID hit. So then, yeah, in COVID, well, oh man, I hope I'm not jumping around too much here. There's a lot to fit in, isn't there? Yeah. So then when we were having a kid, Kate and I were sort of getting to the point where we were over the touring of going back and forth. Well, Kate was more. I still love it. Yeah. And then, yeah, we were having a kid, so it was it's time to sort of put some roots down back on the Sunshine Coast. So. And then, so I just went back to playing covers and picking up an acoustic guitar and smashing that out. And then when COVID hit, it was like a breath of fresh air, because I was sort of burning out from the cover scene. Yeah. And so I just had to reinvent myself as a musician. So I looked to the decks. Yeah. Yeah, and started DJing. And but then in that same time, I'd met Dom, my business partner of Pranafest. And we decided that we were going to give Pranafest a crack, and we pretty much started that in coming out of COVID. So,
yeah, that's awesome. It seems like a great idea. Obviously, we were talking about it off camera earlier, and my wife she's right on board. So I'd say there's no getting out of it. We'll be coming this year. Now that she knows about it, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But it'll be good, man. It sounds like an awesome time.
It's kicked off. I think like the majority of people I know on the Sunshine Coast have been or talk about it or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good things.
Great. Yeah, we're just trying to do everything right, you know, and to do that though requires a lot of financial behind it. And we're one of those events, like a lot of festivals have a revenue stream of a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so like different events will operate where they'll sell the tickets to cover the cost, and then they'll make their revenue from the bar, where we're completely opposite. We've got to make all our revenue from the ticket sales and then pay for all the costs on top of it, like within that. And it's not the most ideal sort of way to operate, especially for how sort of big it's getting, I guess, especially the financials. Yeah, we're making it work and people are supporting it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it the kind of festival where you guys get to support any local bands and acts much, or is it mostly, like you were saying earlier, you guys have like keynote speakers, and obviously there's a lot of yoga, like yogis and stuff that come and do more. It's like an educational thing as well as the music, and obviously you get some awesome bigger names like you were saying John Butler and Xavier Rudd and that. Is there much of is there like a local stage as well where some of the local bands perform at all, or?
we don't have a local stage, but we just program the locals within all the different stages. Yeah, we've got definitely having a strong local content, you know, like especially like from my background, I always want to make sure I'm supporting the local scene. So
Yeah, awesome.
Because it's easy to just start booking everybody from everywhere else, but you know, like we've got to really support our scene. So Deb does a little spot within the festival as well for like a young showcase, and then we book a few off that as well. We book a few other young artists as well just to perform on the other stages. So yeah,
that's awesome, man. What a history.
yeah.
Might have to take Scene Seed to Pranafest this year.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have you guys for sure.
We've been we've been considering the idea of taking the Scene Seed to the streets and sort of just interviewing people, interviewing the public and bands and things at festivals, and interviewing people in the streets and things, just to get more of a vibe.
Festival that you were saying in Brisbane that James was talking about?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna try and get a thing for Big Sound.
Oh yeah.
It's something we've spoken about with a couple of other guests, is that the Sunshine Coast scene is very underrepresented at Big Sound and events like that. So it'd be cool to try and boost that a little bit.
Yeah.
Apparently the Gold Coast has got a massive presence at Big Sound. They've just got a stage running 24/7
They
with
do.
bands after bands after bands. So it would be really cool to get to a point where our scene has something similar. But
yeah, absolutely.
Because there's so much. Like, if the Gold Coast has that much, there's got to be that much
Yeah.
good talent here.
Oh man, Sunshine Coast is thriving with talent, like absolutely thriving with it. It's funny, like because I've been focusing so much on Pranafest and the Raw Audio project. It's like I've sort of see what's going on behind the scenes of everything else, but I haven't been as involved with it these days. Of like, I guess you know, there's only so much you can do really. So it's when you're a bit time poor. So, but I still there's still amazing artists coming out of the Sunny Coast. So
absolutely.
I think they have to work a bit harder these days though to get out as well.
Yeah. Well, and we'll go into that in a minute. But as we've sort of touched on already, it's like we've obviously got a bit of a challenge at the moment with venues not being able to support themselves and stay open, and we've lost like some festivals and things for the same reason, because of costs and council regulations and all of these challenges. So it's like, how do we have the venues so that they're supported, so that they can stay open and actually support the it's like a chicken or egg sort of scenario, isn't it? It's like,
and then you bring in like all the marketing and social media side of things. Like, is it even going to be relevant for us to be going to the venues anymore? Do we just have to find infrastructure and support through social media?
Well, and I guess with the Raw Audio project, that's what we sort of dipped away from doing all the traditional venues, because we knew where our market was. It wasn't like late night gig. It was more like afternoon into early evening, sort of like, you know, the
like alley cat kind of gig.
Nah, more like our whole Raw Audio project started at the dock. So we got a residency at the dock, Mooloolaba, yeah, on like on the waterfront there.
That's the venue I was talking about last time.
Sunsets over the water kind of.
Sunsets over the water.
Good place to be.
Yeah, like that sort of not, like not a, like it was more, I guess 30 plus was our sort of our niche age. And then it just started blowing up like because we were once a month. All of a sudden the crowd started getting so big. The owner of the wharf came and seen one of the gigs, and the wharf was like shaking, and people were dancing so much. So he was like, "These guys are out." Like, so they booted us out. So we ended up, but we'd already built and established such a solid following from there. Everything else just started taking off. So yeah,
I guess that's what you've touched on there as a bit of a hot tip for any of you artists that are up and coming on the coast, is to know your audience, right? Like,
yeah,
don't just book a gig for the sake of booking a gig. Like, know the venue, know the demographic of people that go to those venues. There's some work that we've touched on in other conversations that artists themselves can do. We've also talked about like street press, how that's not really much of a thing these days, whereas back in the early 2000s, in the Kismet and Pool Shark days, it was
Tsunami.
like we had Tsunami Mag, and we would just we would plaster the whole coast in stickers and flyers and just invite people to your gigs. Like, that whole street press thing sort of dissipated out of the scene as well. So
absolutely.
How would you say, it's one thing to know your audience, but how would you say you get to know your audience? Like, where do you start with that?
what would you say, Brett? How did you guys pick that? Was it something that you tested over time, or was it?
No, I guess with raw audio. So back to when I started it in the COVID period, like it was basically because I was playing covers and I was doing all the 90s, 80s, 90s sort of stuff with the covers. I was like, oh, I'm just going to take that and put it into a DJ format and make it electronic music. So then I started even doing a few bootleg remixes and then finding some stuff that sort of sat in that vibe. And we started doing some underground parties, and they just went boom, like in COVID. And when we came out of that, and with the doc and everything, because it was the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s remixes, it established that older crowd straight away. So people were like, straight away they're like, oh, it's taken me back. I feel like and a lot of those people have had kids or, like a bit older now. They're not going to go out to a late night rave. So we were bringing that rave culture to that afternoon sunset, early evening. So it's all done by 7 o'clock, and then they could go home and have dinner with their kids, So that's how we sort of fell into our niche, I guess.
Yeah.
So you didn't start from the kind of ground up with originals and try to feel that out.
No, we've gone the reverse.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we're doing a lot of original stuff.
No, so that seems like a bit of a thing that we used to do back in the day heaps, that I don't see happening on the coast anymore. Is there's always been a market for covers. Like, if you're a band or a muso on the coast, if you want to do if gigging is the thing you want to do, there's plenty of places for you to do cover gigs.
Absolutely.
So, and if you want to make money out of it, you can make money out of it by doing some cover gigs. And the way that Massey and I used to do it with the Map Project back in the days, we booked ourselves as a cover band, but 50% of our cover show was our original music.
Yeah.
So
and that's a really good point to make, because I think I was really hardcore against cover music for ages, because I was like, where the fuck is the new music?
Yeah.
Why aren't we fostering this? While we're doing covers, we're not fostering the originals.
Yep. I was right there with you, with those, especially in the
Like
Kismet
hardcore.
days. I was like, fuck covers, man. And then I went, shit, I need to earn some money. I'm going to go do some covers. Yeah.
But then you find it's a bit of a segue to help you out a little bit. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah. No, and that was like Endo was saying, like it was that's how we did a lot of our bookings, really. So we were doing the same thing with Kindred, I think, and then now the same with raw audio. It's like we'll go do, like what people would see a remix, but half of the tracks are not what they think. We just throw like some sort of recognizable hook in there, and they're like, oh shit, I know that, but it's like got this fat dirty beat underneath it, So yeah.
Same with like Massey used to play. He never really learnt how to play a single cover properly. He'd just learn the hook from the song and come up with a new guitar riff, and we'd play our own version of a cover song. As long as you knew the main hook that people recognised, they loved it. They were on board with it. So it's, I don't know. I don't go out that much anymore. Maybe there is people out there doing it, but I don't hear of it or see people doing that sort of thing as much anymore. So maybe that's an idea, another pro tip for anyone who's trying to think of how we can, how can we get some gigs? How can we get ourselves out there? Yeah. Ooh, just throwing it out there
Tips
to the
from
ethos.
magician himself. So, obviously, you've just touched on a whole lot of content just there, and you've had, would it be fair to say, a very eclectic range of experience over your life in the industry. So that brings us into the next portion of our interview, which is we'll just be asking a few questions and getting your opinions.
Great.
So, from your perspective historically, what do you think the Sunshine Coast music industry has done really well?
I think it's pumped out some really amazing artists in the sense of it's the culture that's been here especially from early days. I feel like we've got a long way to go to nurture that culture and nurture the artists that are coming out of that culture.
Who's we? Who has the long way?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's everybody as a collective, really. But it's tough because you need someone to spearhead that, and who's going to do that really at the end of the day. And they need the. Yeah, it's always a tough one, really, because I think, you start a venue, that's one way of doing it, or you start a festival, that's one way of doing it. But then there's no real body that's sort of helping glue that all together.
Find a way to be more collaborative with all of those sort of things.
And there is one body that's started up now that are sort of trying to go there with the guys that are running the Sunshine Coast Music Awards. But still, that's all volunteer, and they're not getting given a lot of funding to be able to do that.
So how long have they been running that?
Well, they started the first awards last year, and so which was
So hopefully it's a time thing, a matter of time before they might get a bit more support in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the Sunshine Coast just needs someone to come in with a young, fresh energy to glue it all together, really.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You seem like that type of person, Beth.
No pressure.
Yeah, no, just
put my blinders on to that.
Yeah, that's it.
Just gotta keep moving forward.
That's the hardest part, eh? As a musician, I wanted to be that back then. I tried as best as I could for the time I had, but then as a musician, you just go, I got to go be a musician, and I want to focus on my art as well. And so it's tough. It's a big role to take on, really, for somebody, and they need to be they have to have a lot of, the personality and everything that has to come together within that has to be the right recipe as well.
Definitely. So if we zoom forward to the present, is there anything you would say that the Sunny Coast scene is doing well now? Where are we winning at the moment?
That's a great question, eh? Well, you can't really say venues, that's for sure, because with 3 of the biggest venues shut down, or 2 or 3 of whatever, well, Soul Bar and Station and that gone. I still think that we've got a great culture of artists here, and I think there's a lot of cultivation. There's a lot of amazing musicians happening, but they just, a lot of them are in the bedroom writing songs and still not sure how to get out there and get them in front of an audience or get them out into the world. That's a tough question, really, because even the TAFE, the diploma course that was the music diploma course, that's gone now on the Sunshine Coast as well. Yeah, that was going for many years. I used to teach there.
Is that music industry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was 2 components of it. There was the there was production and there was the music business side, and I used to teach in the music business part of it, and but that lost all its funding as well. So
Is the USC still doing they started a music diploma a few years. I actually enrolled in it a few years ago, but
yeah,
I had to defer it. But yeah, are they still doing that? Do you know? Or?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
think
right.
Queensland College of Music, they're who I did mine through in high school.
Okay.
They're up in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And they're a really small college, but I think they're still running some kind of funded, it depends where you go to school, but I think a lot of the schools will still try to work their way to funding that kind of course.
Yeah.
I think they might still be running.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a shame to
funny.
hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hectic.
I know, it's crazy, eh?
So in terms of, I guess it's historically and current, would you agree that I feel like something that we have done well and we tend to do well here on the coast in my 25, 30 odd years of being in the scene here is we do tend to have a good sense of community and collaboration, and we over the years I've noticed, and I think Reese touched on this as well the other week, was that we go through periods where things seem to fragment and splinter, but then the core group seems to always find their way back, and we do tend to collaborate and we pull it all back together. Like I think that we do have a good community here and a good collaboration base. Like
Yeah, the community is always strong here, and yeah, you nailed it there. We do have a really good community, and I think when it does fragment, I think everyone goes, "Oh, it's fragmented. We've got to do something now."
Yeah.
So I feel like something's going to happen very soon.
yeah,
With the collective. Like, I mean, it started happening there with when the Soul Bar went down. Like, everyone went, shit, we got
panic
to,
stations.
yeah, we got to see what's happening. Station's gone, Soul Bar's gone. What are we doing? So that started that conversation. So yeah.
I mean, I guess that kind of ties into the next question, which is, what do you think the pressure points are currently within the scene?
So when you say pressure points, you're saying like the pain points, like as in the
The challenges.
Okay.
What are the
and that.
biggest? Like if you had to pick the top 3 challenges for the Sunny Coast scene.
Well, straight away venues, like that's a big one. Like not enough venues. Funny enough, like not enough venues for original music.
Yep.
Like the cover scene and what we do, like DJs, like there's plenty of places to play. But yeah, I think for band stuff and I think there's definitely a pain point there. Like, and that's quite obvious. Festivals, like we don't really have many festivals going on now. Like Pranafest is, well, we're outside the Sunshine Coast. We're sort of in the Moreton Bay region because we couldn't really find a venue within the Sunshine Coast. So that's another big one. And I know that Big Pineapple, they struggled a bit last year, and
It just kills me that you say that because we had the festivals.
yeah,
There used to be so many.
We
Oh,
had
man.
the venues, we had the festivals.
Yep.
And it just slowly got cut.
Yep. Yep. And it's not they're not easy undertakings to take on. There's big financial stress and a lot of pressure, like a lot of pressure from government and all the things. I mean, we're about to get this huge venue on the Sunshine Coast from the
Down at
Gadene group.
Ordio.
Yeah, but I don't know what that's going to do for the local scene.
No, that'll be amazing for the international touring bands, and it'll be like another stop so that you're not going down to Brisbane to watch a stadium gig. But we really need those sort of mid-sized venues, like 300 to 500 cap for the local artists. Like
I thought that was intended to be more of a place for us to be able to gather and put our talent up for show.
I don't actually know, to be honest. I know that I heard that it's like 35,000 people cap, so it's hard to imagine small local artists getting much of a show in there, really.
But they might, hopefully, like they'll cultivate the scene by it's not going to be hard for them to put a small venue into that area.
Yeah, true.
I think that's sort of where a lot of it's leaning towards, down that southern end of the coast now, like with the Aura and the Kings Beach Tavern's one that's sort of still doing sort of bands, and they've been doing bands for years. But and you got Norton's down there now, but there definitely needs to be something happening here in the central part, like Maroochydore and like Maroochydore, especially with the CBD going in there now, and
Yep. Yep.
So
Maybe perhaps with the light rail, if that gets off the ground and gives people a bit more flexibility with transport and things, it could help the scene a little bit in that regard. Like, I
yeah,
think that's supposed to be, well, at least functional to a point by the Olympics. So it's at 2032, I think it is.
yep.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I reckon the pain points are. You said 3, didn't you?
Yeah, we got past
We got 2
Yep.
venues
Venues,
and
festivals.
then I interrupted. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, I don't think there's a lack of musicians. I think there's a ton of musicians, a ton of DJs, there's a ton of producers. Yeah, they just need somewhere to play really, and I think I mean you can never have asked for more, like enough money from the government to be able to inject into the scene, you know. So that's another big one.
Yeah.
Third one, support.
Yeah, third one, support, and however that looks like, you know, whether it's in venues or whether it's like, you know, open air events or like you said, like even the media, like, you know, there's no street presses around. Like, what does the current scene look like for, you know, like what you guys are doing, like like the podcasts or some sort of like what Larissa's doing with the locals in the loop. Yeah, yellow, which is the other one I think the council is doing as well. So you know,
Okay. Yep.
Yellow.
yeah, is it yellow?
I haven't heard of that.
I think it rings a bell. I think I might have seen something about it somewhere.
YELO, yeah.
I can't remember what the story behind it was, but that sounds familiar for some reason.
I think it does highlight one thing, like what you were saying before, is that it is a really great community because without having that support and that infrastructure, we at least kind of all have each other in some ways. We can reach out to each other and get some help. Like Larissa's great, you know. Lots of opportunity for partnership and coming together and
we always find a way. You know, back in the day there was, when the liquor licensing thing was cracking down, that was when there was this massive influx of just like renegade underground gigs. Like we used to do the beach parties up at Yarumba with what was his name, Casey, was it Casey, the rapper?
And the grinning dog stuff that we do, we like I remember having No Innocence, a punk band, and we had to close all the doors for the sound, and we said, you got half an hour to just rock hard, man.
And then we're going to get kicked out.
And then literally the cops rocked up right on their last note, and they were like, nothing's going on here.
Yes, we adapt, we overcome, we find a way, but I think it's important for the guys who have been around in the scene, and we know that this is how we used to do it, to pass on this knowledge and share it with the new guys up and coming, because that's another thing I've seen is a bit of a disconnect. Back in the day, I remember being in my late teens, early 20s, and we just stepped into the scene where the old guys came in and took us under their wing and they showed us the ropes from day one kind of thing. And I don't know if it's because like the busyness of life has changed and financial pressures and things, but I feel like our sort of generation hasn't had that opportunity to link up and mentor the younger guys as much as they did back then. That's talking about pressure points. That's probably something that I could see. Like,
definitely, you nailed it.
I feel like there's a bit of a attitude of kind of the younger generation needs to figure it out for themselves, and kind of for the most part, like, here's a seed, now go figure it out for yourself. Don't come back till you've learned what you need to learn, you know.
Trial by fire kind of thing.
That's
kind
of what it feels like sometimes.
There is a bit of an element of that to it. I think you have to show some initiative, but also you don't know what you don't know. So I think there's probably a gap or some space in the scene for some of us older guys to do some sort of mentoring, whatever that looks like, whether it was like a regular thing or whether it ties into the music industry catch-ups that the guys are doing it's like the first Wednesday of every month or whatever it is, where they all get together. I don't know. I can see a bit of a space there that may or may not get some interest. That is the part that's dependent on the younger guys, is
then what about
build it and they will come. Will they come? Yeah. If you don't come, well, it all goes by the wayside.
And why are they not coming? Like, are they feeling like they're excluded in that sense? Are they feeling threatened that, you know, they're not being heard? You know, like, or do they think it's just a bunch of, you know, oldies just sitting there talking about the good old days. Like, you know, why is that?
I reckon there's so much to that. And I honestly have noticed in my generation, speaking from experience, that we probably didn't learn to take criticism on so great. So it's easier probably just to do your own thing and figure it out for yourself. And like, criticism might be seen as a threat. You know, that's just from where I sit and some other people kind of that I might have known, but you've got to kind of move past that and learn past that and learn that criticism is your greatest teacher. And, you know, but I don't think that was instilled too well into my generation.
More of a societal, generational
And I think
element to it rather than just a scene specific issue.
I don't think it is just a scene thing. I think it's just like, I want to do my thing. I don't want to kind of hear about it. What I've got going on is great on its own, and it can't be better.
To be fair, from what I've noticed, like working with yourself and Charlie and like John Napier and a few of you younger guys, the keenness is there. You know, when we talk about stuff, there is. So at least with you guys, there are some people who are keen to know. So I guess if we just it would probably take someone to build it and whatever that would look like, and then just see what interest came from it.
You're the chosen one.
I'm gonna do your trick here and put my blinders onto that. No, you got me there.
Yeah, there you go, man. You just stepped into that role, brother. We'll support you.
We'll see. No. Well, anyway, we digress again. But so looking forward, what gives you hope for our local scene, Brett, and what role do you see yourself playing in the future local Sunny Coast scene?
I've always sort of, I mean, the hope is definitely in the talent that's on the Sunshine Coast, and the people that have sort of got the motivation to really, you know, further the scene, really, you know, to do what you guys are doing, you know, and this is great to see, because, you know, because you do have like the broad spectrum of generations here. It's not just, you know, one sort of age group doing it. And I guess I know I'm going to get back into sort of that mentoring role again soon. It's just been the last sort of 5 years or 6 years has been all about establishing who I am as an artist and with the festival stuff, and just work-life balance with the family and all that sort of stuff, you know. So I sort of see, I see myself getting back into that mentoring role again. Not too long, you know. Especially for events. I think events is the big one, because, you know, anyone can, like, all young people can do a pop-up event. It's you know, whether if there's no venues, take it out to the beaches, you know, take it out to the parks. Take it out to do whatever you need to do the pop-ups.
Speaking from experience, so hard.
Yeah, well, but see, that's where I think, you know, like, if someone's gonna be wanting to do that is a young person, they need to come to those industry meetings and get help from the guys that know how to get the funding and all that sort of stuff.
That's the key. That is the key element. I think that was missing when, you know, Sienna Bischoff, if you heard of her.
Yeah.
Her and I ran a little event.
Yeah, Jay's daughter. Yeah.
Ran a little kind of 6-band festival up at Gadene at the Starlight Hall.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Oh my gosh, just getting insurance to have 150 heads there.
Yeah, it's crazy,
expensive, difficult. It was a mishmash of a time.
And people don't understand how hard it is to do an event like that, or any festival or anything, until they're doing it, and they're like, oh, why didn't they do this right? It's like, you gotta know the ins and outs of like what it takes to run an event.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was so hectic doing it that I didn't have time to worry about the fact that we were going to make a loss. I just found out probably like a week before we ran it. I was like, cool, this is going to put us back a fair amount. I don't have time to worry about it now because there's just too much to do and it's going ahead anyway.
That was Pranafest first one. We went big time into the hole. Yeah, but we'd sort of taken out our soup, like, you know, we used that whole COVID period to take out the super and go, all right, that's the investment. If we lose that, cool, but as long as we can make it back the next year. But if not, then that's it. We've got 2 years to give this a crack.
Yeah.
We did. We went in the hole the first year, big time, and then clawed our way out, and then So yeah, it's not an easy thing to run events. But I think that's where the council can come back on board. There's lots of government funding, there's grants and that out there. Like there's heaps of stuff there.
Again, bureaucratic red tape, right? Like I reckon if we'd run a event where we said it was going to be booze free and rah, it might have been a bit different. But in all honesty, we couldn't say that. We were running an 18+ event, and that's when I feel like you kind of get left a bit on your own, and you rely a bit on community to help out a bit. But everyone's trying to survive. So in where that is and there, you just have to push through it.
Sure do. Well, good on you for taking the risk and giving it a crack. Would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. One day, with the right supports and I think the right timing. I think. Yeah, absolutely. I loved the experience. It was a lot of fun, very high pressure, but a whole lot of fun, and I learnt a lot from it. And just watching how much fun everyone had and safely that night. Like not one incident occurred really. It was great. Just made it all worth it. But it definitely burnt me out, and I was working like full time at the time, and I just so
If you ever decide to run another one and you need some mentorship, you now know.
Are you pointing the finger back at me, are we?
I'm actually throwing Brendan in here. So.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, anytime. Like I'm always available for anyone that's given it a crack, for sure. And more than happy. Even if it's just a phone call, whether it's like, whether it's linking with the right people or whatever, it's
And I was happy to help out at yours as well, of course.
Oh, I'll take you up on that one. I'm good at that. I'll just say, oh, wait, we've got another one here. Throw them in the mix.
Good experience.
No, I think it's great. I think it's a great thing to do. Yeah, jumping on the bandwagon with that stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, before we wrap this up, we finish every episode off the same way.
Yep.
We ask the guests to give us a local Sunny Coast artist and a song that we will share with everyone who's tuned in if they wish to check it out, to sort of help promote the industry a little bit. So have you got an artist and a track you want to give us?
We talked about this, so I'm going to throw you under the bus on this one, and you're going to have to find the track because it's so long ago. So the track is Imagination by Massey, who Chris used to play with. And around that time of, what was that, mid-2000s?
09, I think we released that album.
Yeah.
09,
That was where you guys were just really hitting that. I thought that song was going to be a worldwide smash hit, and it had the right hook, it had the right chorus, it just had the right feel about it. As soon as you played it, everyone was singing it, So I'm going to bring that one back.
Yeah, sweet.
So you got to find it.
I'll dig it out of the archives. It's Imagination by We Were the Map Project, I believe we released it under. So Massey Smith. We'll have to give Massey a shout out if you're tuning in.
Yeah, mate. Yep. Good stuff.
Very cool. Well,
Awesome.
thanks heaps for your time, man. Really appreciate the chat.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Going to be looking forward to seeing what the reaction to this is and what comes of it, really. So.
No, well done, guys, and keep up the amazing work. This is awesome.
No, too easy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.